It's the 8th of September 2017. Here's Double Wicket Maiden, the cricket news bulletin show on Bizz 99.9 FM Substitute Radio. I'm your presenter for today, Chukka Wilson. Here's what's been making news in the cricketing world. Australia have been able to bounce back from their remarkable and surprising loss to Bangladesh last week to win the second test at Chittagong, allowing for a face-saving but frustrating 1-1 draw in the series. Bangladesh won the toss and batted first, scoring a disappointing 305. They started the game off poorly, at one stage being 5 for 117, before the lower order were able to push the score up to something competitive. Mushrafika Rahim, Shabir Rahman and Nazir Hossain were the top run scorers. Among the Australian bowlers, Nathan Lyon was the absolute standout, putting up a tremendous performance of 7 for 94, one of his best performances in his career. In reply, Australia were able to make 377. It was the top order who did the bulk of the run scoring, and it came through patient and slow application, getting on top of conditions through hard work and batsmanship. David Warner made 123, perhaps the slowest and most uncharacteristic of centuries in his career. He was assisted with contributions by Steve Smith, Peter Hanscom and Glenn Maxwell. Opening bowling pair Miraz and Rahman took 7 wickets between them. Shakib-ul-Hasan took 1 for 82 from 31 overs, being the least successful but most economical of the Tiger bowlers. In their second innings, facing a 70-run deficit, Bangladesh put up a lacklustre and pathetic performance. They were bowled out for just 157, setting Australia just 86 runs to win. No batsman made it into the 40s, with just one partnership being worth more than 50. At no point did Bangladesh look as if they were planning on taking control of the innings, halting the advances of the Australian bowlers and setting them a competitive and difficult target. It looked as if they were falling back on the bad old days of not being able to stay on terms of play and just getting swept aside by their superior opponents. The bowler who did most of the damage was once again Nathan Lyon, who took 6 for 60. Australia were able to chase down the runs with 7 wickets in hand, achieving victory before stumps on the 4th day. In the 2-match series, the standout performance in the batting was David Warner, who made 2 centuries, scoring 251 runs at an average of more than 60. He was the most mature, level-headed of the batsmen from either team, who applied himself carefully and professionally. Behind Warner, there was a fair distribution of the leading run scorers. 2nd and 3rd place were taken by Bangladeshis, while 4th and 5th place were taken by Australians. In the bowling department, the standout performance by a long margin was Nathan Lyon, who took 22 wickets at 14, with 3 5-wicket hauls from his 4 bowling innings. The next best was Shakib-ul-Hasan, who took 12 wickets at 22. Over the past 3 years, Nathan Lyon has turned his test career around, turning himself from being a mediocre but competent bowler to one that can take command, intimidate and control the game, and win matches for Australia. After getting bashed around by Pakistan in the UAE 3 years ago, Nathan Lyon's test bowling average was nearly 36. But now, after 3 years of high quality work, it has fallen to below 32. The decision to include Stephen OKeefe in the team for the second test was neither here nor there. He took none for 79 in the first innings and 2 for 49 in the second, and scored 8 not out with his one chance at the crease. It didn't win the game for Australia, but it was a solid enough performance that his inclusion could be justified and defended. So, where does this place Stephen O'Keefe vis-a-vis his suspension from New South Wales cricket because of his inappropriate and unsportsmanlike off-field behaviour? Does the Shane Warne rule still apply, where you're allowed to be as horrid and ugly as you want, just as long as you do the right thing when the ball's in your hand? Or does Cricket Australia still believe that it has a serious code of conduct to defend for player behaviour? Over the past 12 months, Bangladesh have won test matches against England, Sri Lanka and Australia, in all 3 occasions drawing with them 1-1 in the 2-match rubbers. The Tigers have played 102 test matches now in their 17-year history, and have won just 10 of them. 7 of those wins have come within the last 4 years. Australia have not won a test series in Asia since they beat Sri Lanka in the spring of 2011, which was 6 years ago, and they have won only 1 of the previous 5 test match rubbers they have played. Despite being able to put up a sturdy and convincing performance in this second test, there are still plenty of difficult and troubling questions that remain. Some of the problems that Australia still are yet to deal with include the following. 1. Matthew Wade, since making his return to Test cricket last year, has failed to make any significant contributions to the team with just 1 half-century with the bat, and his wicket-keeping, while certainly up to scratch, hasn't been remarkable or overwhelmingly terrific. 2. Their fast bowlers. With Stark and Hazlewood both injured, the only fast bowler to play in the second test was Pat Cummins, who's still in the process of coming back from his prolonged series of injuries. With a major summer of international cricket fast approaching, Australia needs to find a way of getting a healthy, in-form, firing battalion of fast bowlers on the field for the first test against England in Brisbane. Third and finally, there are the problems of the middle order batting, excluding Warner, Smith and Hanscom. Everyone else in the team has failed to make enough runs to cement their places in the team. Khawaja did so poorly in the first test that he was dropped for the second. Matt Renshaw hasn't been able to add to his maiden century against Pakistan in the Sydney New Year test. And apart from his century in India, Glenn Maxwell hasn't done enough to warrant staying in the Test 11 as a batsman. And that's the news for this episode. This has been Double Wicket Maiden, the Cricket News Bulletin Show for the 8th of September 2017. I'm Chukka Wilson, and you're listening to Bizz 99.9 FM Substitute Radio. Until the next Cricket News Bulletin, remember to cock your wrists, play with soft hands, and don't let your centre of gravity go off balance.